There's also another interesting point that I wanted to make about that movie version of Pinocchio that I mentioned, which is the Azure Maiden, which is a character in this particular rendition who's the blue fairy who basically has brought Pinocchio into this world. And I think it's kind of a neat coincidence, because I know that as I've grown up, and even as a small child, I would have dreams about the blue woman, a blue being, who sort of became a very important figure later on, literary figure in my own writing, symbolizing very similar things. She was originally a very frightening character, but eventually, she became more of a spiritual symbol. I guess a kind of a conscience, a divine symbol, as she is in that story. And it's also an interesting parallel because, as I've been discussing, the issue of not only AI and the ghost in the machine, but also, as I mentioned in the last video, the development of the individual through that, and having this more, I guess, seemingly in Pinocchio, this more holistic kind of approach rather than the sort of technocratic approach. Like, there's still a sense that there's a belief in a spiritual world, obviously, but I think the Azure Maiden seems to represent that world and indicate, I think, the kind of mentality or the belief system that perhaps slowly got eroded by different kinds of, I guess you could say, humans or degradation, and I guess you can see that in a lot of Philip K. Dick stories.